Welcome back. When it comes to knowing your workplace rights, Christmas holidays can be hard to navigate. Between refusing shifts on public holidays, transport entitlements and even chucking a sickie, the law can be a minefield for both business owners and employees.
New federal industrial relations reforms have also come in this month, and with just under a third of the population employed as part-time workers, these changes are set to have a big impact on the Australian workforce. So
what's the expert advice you need to know this Christmas? Managing Director of EMPLOYSURE, Ed Mallett, joins us now live in the studio. Nice to see you again, Edward. Take us through what these new industrial relation reforms will mean for part-time workers to start with.
So I think there's a couple of things to say first, Larry, which is that these are proposed reforms at the moment. It's a bill before Parliament. It'll be some time before we find out what the actual reforms are. The second thing is, I don't think in politics you win many friends by announcing reforms that really cut into employees just before Christmas, so don't expect these to be particularly detrimental to employees. For example, on the part-time side of things, though, what's proposed is that in a number of industries, part-time workers can agree to do extra hours with their employer without getting penalty rates. And the idea there is that they get the hours rather than it going to a casual worker who might be cheaper for the employer to use.
OK, what about the changes to the way we define a casual worker? So we remember there's casual and there's part-time, and they're very different things, aren't they? So the changes to how we define a casual?
Exactly. So casual workers, it's been a bit of a mess. There's a case that's going before the High Court at the moment to try and understand what a casual worker is and what their entitlements are. And this is an attempt to cut through that, to create a situation where we can more clearly understand who's really a casual. So the idea is that they will put a definition which says that there's a guarantee of ongoing and indefinite work. To define what a casual is, which will hopefully be helpful to everyone.
Yeah. Lately, we've seen a number of companies having to rectify underpayments to their staff. Now, the new laws make this theft a criminal matter. What impact will this have, do you think?
Not much, unfortunately, from my perspective, in that because I don't think in my business we work with about 27,000 small businesses, and what I don't see day to day is people that try to underpay their staff. What I see consistently is people that get it wrong because the system's so complex. So rather than solving the system here, what they've gone in and done is, in my view, taken it out on the employers by pointing at them. So I don't like the idea of wage theft. It's pretty strong language against people that typically I see are just trying to do the right thing.
OK, so obviously we just need to simplify it so everyone can get it right. OK, we have some commonly asked questions around Christmas employment, and you're going to help us out here. The first question is, can an employee say no to doing shifts on public holidays? So we all know that the roster comes out and you've been rostered on Christmas Day. Do you have the right to say no?
If you're a casual, yes, and typically as well if you're a permanent part-time or full-time employee, unless your employer is A, giving you reasonable notice, and B, you might be in an industry where that was expected and part of your contractual arrangement with your employer. So typically yes, but it depends on your individual circumstances.
And what about if you're a full-time employee and you get rostered on Christmas Day?
It, again, depends what your contractual term says in the industry, but if you've been given reasonable notice of it, it's pretty hard to say no if there's been some reasonable notice.
Okay. Next question for every Australian who's chucked a dodgy sickie. Can my boss check if I'm actually sick?
So typically most employers will require a medical certificate either for any time off or after a certain period of time off, and that's the form of checking. On top of that, I think in the world of workers' comp, you see things like private investigators employed by the insurers who are going around and checking to see if people are actually sick.
But what about the note that you get from the doctor? If you're off for more than 2 days, you have to have a medical certificate. Can they ring the doctor to see if it's ridgy-dig?
What they can do sometimes is send you to their own doctor if they're concerned that it's not ridgy-dig. So be cautious. World of social media as well. I think people can fairly quickly see if you're not as sick as you say you are. Yeah.
And the pharmacy question popped up there. Is a medical certificate valid from a pharmacy?
Up to the employer. Typically, employers will only accept a medical certificate from a certified doctor, but some employers do accept pharmacy certificates.
OK. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lots of questions there.